This is our first melee carry.
What is going on, guys? I hope you enjoyed that different sort of introduction. I found it pretty funny how Serath was considered the first melee carry, with Greystone being labelled a carry on release, and maybe he wasn't a carry on legacy, I do agree with that, but on Monolith in his current state, yeah, this guy can definitely be played as a melee carry. I'd like to give credit to the anonymous guy on agora.gg who posted this build. I did change it slightly and I think my one does work better, but they did come up with the bulk of the build and so deserve the credit. As usual, we'll take a look at the build and then we'll talk about how you should be playing Greystone to truly carry your team. I take the Warlord as my prime card, a guard token, health potion and healer token. Next is 2 Madstone gems with 3 minor power cards. We have our Redeye Nitro with 2 major or brutal kinetics and a Zealous wound. Brightsteel play is next with a wound and 2 guards, followed by a Guardian's Ward with 3 minor strikes. We then have 2 Rust Breakers, one with 3 major power cards and one with 3 minor power cards. Tune Barrier is next with 3 Divine Barriers, and finally our Blast Harness with 3 minor kinetics. I like to take Greystone in the off lane, so I start with a health potion and healer token. This provides me with some sustain. You'll constantly be starved CP against good players, so you want to do the off lane camp whenever possible, so that at least you're getting some farm. The lane will eventually push towards your tower, so you can save farm. If I wasn't against a rampage, I'd probably be a bit more aggressive trying to get more CP in lane, but with that 2-second stun on his rock, you have to be very careful because if he lands it, you're almost certainly dead. I typically don't take wards really early on in the off lane, especially as Greystone, just because you have that leap to escape and you tend to be under your tower for the majority of the time, which means you're quite ungankable. So you can take the Guardian's Ward if you want, or you can go for the Madstone gems like I prefer to do. As an offlaner, your lane is always under pressure. The enemy team will be quite pushed up and it's an opportunity for you and your team to punish them. I call my jungler Serath to come over so that we can gank. If we secure a kill, that allows me to safely back and I maintain a healthy amount of CP for a deprived offlaner. As Serath comes in, we focus iFairless the carry because anytime you can stop him from farming buys your carry even more time to farm and again relieves pressure in the offlane. I managed to pick up the kill and I wasn't too worried about dying because I knew my ultimate would be up soon. You really want to press that advantage when you have that ultimate because you'll be at level 5 when the enemy are only 3 or 4 at most. Once you have your points invested into your Madstone gems and you have that ultimate, don't be scared to be a bit aggressive in the lane. You want to farm and the quickest way to do that is by farming the lane. Keep one eye on the minimap for rotations and you should be okay to farm comfortably. Once I've completed my Madstone gems, I then work on my cheaper Rust Breaker and again it's back to farming. Don't be worried if you do lose your tower, just make sure that you don't die for it. The offlane tower always goes, so letting the enemy have it is fine. You can safely farm under your tier 2, which is unlikely to be pressured so early on in the game, and if it is, opportunities to gank the enemy will present themselves for your team. As you can see, that is exactly what happened. Serath was trying to come in from behind but got taken out relatively quickly. Rampage is diving our tier 2, but the damage from Greystone and the tower means he'll be unsuccessful. I still have my ultimate, so everything is fine. Greystone's ultimate allows us to build such cheap damage items that we really do hurt without having to invest points into survivability so early on. Once you've completed your Rust Breaker, I like to take the Brightsteel plate. This is because we're mostly taking basic attack damage, and the armor and crit chance benefit Greystone both offensively and defensively. Remember how I said giving up your tier 2 is completely fine if you have to, because the enemies will eventually push your tier 2 and that presents an opportunity for you to come and kill them. Well, that is exactly what happens. A lonely Serath is pushing our tier 2 tower out of position. Bellica gets a great knock up, void bomb Serath, and she escapes with a tiny amount of health that even an auto attack from Muriel can finish her off. And so you can see, you can always turn that negative into a positive. As a Greystone, you want to frontline as much as possible, soaking up that damage. I dive right into the mix as the enemy tried to do the Raptor camp. It's pretty time consuming to kill the enemy Rampage with his regen, but I managed to chase down Serath and pick her off. I feel you can take down a Rampage 1v1, but with the Raptors and enemies around, it's better to focus on securing a squishy hero than wait for the rest of the enemies to rotate and you find yourself outnumbered. Having finished my Brightsteel play, I sell my healer token and grab my Redeye Nitro and some attack speed. Now the enemy team with a slight card lead on the rest of my allies are sieging our tier 2 tower. I dive behind Twinblast, forcing his jump, and then focus on clearing minions from my tower. You'll notice that I'm the furthest one forward, and that's how you want to play. I initiate onto Serath and immediately I'm in the middle of the enemies. 3 people are now attacking me, which means 4 of my allies are now attacking the rest of them, and unfortunately for those poor enemies, we easily secure 4 kills, and this is because a Greystone can soak up so much damage while dealing so much damage that the enemy have to deal with him, and this build is perfect for doing just that. You could see I was chunking away at Serath and that her allies had to come to her aid, and then my team just cleaned up, allowing us to take Orb Prime, where I also got a pick on the enemy Grux. As well as initiating onto enemy heroes, you also need to jump onto those towers. With Orb Prime and 2 or 3 minions, you can easily take down tier 2 and even an inhibitor. I dive straight onto the tower and I don't care if people shoot me because I'm Mr. 2 lives and I can get the tower down really fast, allowing my team to push forward and hopefully secure some kills. As soon as the tower is down, I'm looking to make a pick, and ideally I want to pick their carry off, so as soon as I spot Twinblast, I'm like a bull with horns that just saw red. This is your target and this is who you have to kill. He does try to run away, but remember, don't initiate with your leap if you don't have to. You can see that I use it to catch up to Twinblast and eventually kill him, but I only use my leap after he's used his rocket dash. Grux tries to save him, but it's too late, and in the end he pays the ultimate price. With the carry dead, the opportunity to take an inhibitor is there, but my team unfortunately are all dead except for Muriel, and my ultimate has been used, so I decide to return and depush our lanes. Once you've completed your Redeye Nitro, you can take your Blast Harness for that crit bonus. Ideally try to max that out as soon as you equip it, and then proceed to go ham. You can then also sell your cheap Madstone gems for your final Rust Breaker and Tune Barrier to complete your build. This is probably the game-changing moment when I called Orb Prime. I'll explain why. At 30 minutes or later in the game, your carry is going to be able to do Orb Prime really fast. Add 4 other heroes into the mix and you're talking taking Orb Prime before the enemy will have much chance to react, unless they are close by. I see that Serath and Rampage show on the left lane, so at most 3 people can contest us. Even if they do somehow steal Orb, we as 5 people will be able to kill them. I make the call to do Orb Prime. As expected, 2 of the enemies came to contest because they were close by. We managed to secure the orb and then I pick off Grux followed by Gadget, and then Rampage comes staggering in and also gets picked off. That's 3 kills, Orb Prime, and this is 100% an inhibitor if not the game. Having that awareness and constantly checking your mini-map of where the enemies are allows you to put yourself in these positions where you can do Orb Prime for almost free. We eventually managed to get the inhibitor and then we have to do Orb Prime again because some of my allies died to secure the victory, but we were pretty comfortable because we pushed our lanes and made sure that we were securing the Orb Prime before the enemy was. I'll leave you with one play that I made because I thought it was pretty good. I'd just taken the enemy inhibitor and then I was all alone against 3 enemies. I leaped to get away and honestly I thought I would die here, but I was protecting my 9-0 record fiercely, eventually finishing on 11-0. I run through the jungle as the enemy team continued to chase. I know I had my ult for a second life, but it was still pretty intense. I decide instead of running to take the fight on Grux as I dodge his pull and absolutely wreck him with just 52 health left, and his bleed takes me down to about 10 health. With Rampage in pursuit, he still doesn't even manage to pop my ultimate. I thought that was a pretty cool moment I'd share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Smash that thumbs up button if you did. Let me know what hero you want me to do next in the comment section below. And until next time guys, peace.